Hello, and welcome. Over the next several chapters, we're going to embark on a journey together. It's not a journey to a distant land, but rather a journey toward a lifestyle that is more in tune with our planet, our communities, and even our own well-being. We're going to be talking about sustainability, a word that you've likely heard a lot. But what does it really mean for the average American household? How can we, in our busy, everyday lives, make choices that are not only good for the environment but also good for our wallets and our future? This series is designed to answer those questions, not with complicated jargon or impossible demands, but with simple, practical, and actionable tips. This is Chapter 1, the why and how of a sustainable start. So, let's begin by demystifying that big word, sustainability. At its core, sustainability is simple. The most widely accepted definition comes from a 1987 United Nations report, and it states that sustainability is about meeting the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. Think about it like this. We've inherited this incredible country with its vast natural beauty, its resources, and its opportunities. Sustainability is our commitment to being good stewards of this inheritance. It's about ensuring that our children, our grandchildren, and all the generations of Americans to come have the same, if not better, opportunities to thrive. It's about clean air to breathe, clean water to drink, and a stable environment to support our communities and our economy. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. This sounds like a huge, overwhelming global issue. What can one person or one family really do to make a difference? That feeling is completely normal. The news is often filled with daunting headlines about climate change, pollution, and resource depletion. It's easy to feel small in the face of such massive challenges. But here's the empowering truth. Large-scale change is simply the result of many small changes combined. Your choices matter. The daily habits you cultivate, the products you buy, and the way you manage your home create a ripple effect that extends far beyond your doorstep. You are a consumer, a community member, and a citizen. In each of these roles, you hold the power to vote for a more sustainable world with your actions and your dollars, every single day. Before we dive into the how, it's crucial to address some common misconceptions about living sustainably. The first and biggest myth is that it's expensive. Many people picture a sustainable lifestyle as one that requires buying expensive organic foods, installing costly solar panels, and driving a brand new electric car. While those things can certainly be part of a sustainable life, they are absolutely not prerequisites. In fact, a truly sustainable lifestyle is often a more frugal one. Think about it. Sustainability is about reducing waste. When you waste less food, you save money on groceries. When you use less energy, you save money on your utility bills. When you buy fewer disposable items, you save money on things you would otherwise just throw away. Throughout this series, we will focus on tips that are not only earth-friendly but also budget-friendly. The second myth is that it requires radical, all-or-nothing lifestyle changes. There's a fear that to be sustainable, you have to become a minimalist homesteader who lives off the grid. That is simply not true. The goal here is not perfection, it's progress. It's about making small, incremental adjustments to your daily routine. It's about choosing the reusable water bottle over the plastic one. It's about turning off the lights when you leave a room. It's about thinking twice before making a purchase. You don't have to change everything overnight. The most successful approach is to pick one or two simple things, incorporate them into your life until they become second nature, and then build from there. This series isn't about guilt or judgment. It's about empowerment and taking one manageable step at a time. Finally, there's a misconception that sustainability is solely about the environment, polar bears and rainforests. While protecting our natural world is a huge part of it, sustainability actually rests on three pillars: environmental, social, and economic. A truly sustainable practice is one that is good for the planet, good for people, and good for our economy. For example, supporting a local farmers market is a great sustainable practice. Environmentally, it reduces the carbon footprint associated with shipping food across the country. Socially, it builds a stronger community and connects you with the people who grow your food. And economically, it keeps money circulating in your local economy, supporting small businesses and your neighbors. So as we explore these tips, you'll see that they often have benefits that reach into all aspects of our lives. So, why now? Why is this conversation so important for us in the United States today? We live in a consumer culture. We're encouraged from a young age to want more, to buy the latest and greatest, and to prioritize convenience above all else. This has led to incredible innovation and a high standard of living for many, but it has also created a throwaway society. We generate a staggering amount of waste. According to the EPA, the average American produces nearly 5 pounds of trash per day. That's over 1,800 pounds of trash per person, per year. Our consumption habits are putting a strain on our natural resources and our landfills. But the good news is, we are also a nation of innovators, problem solvers, and optimists. We have a history of rising to meet great challenges, and this is no different. Shifting towards a more sustainable lifestyle isn't about going backward, it's about moving forward, intelligently. It's about using our ingenuity to live smarter, healthier, and more fulfilling lives. It's about rediscovering the value of quality over quantity, of community over convenience, and of stewardship over consumption. This first chapter was about setting the stage, understanding the what and the why. We've defined sustainability not as a sacrifice, but as a forward-thinking principle. We've busted the myths that it has to be expensive or extreme. And we've highlighted why this matters for every American who wants to secure a prosperous and healthy future for generations to come. Starting in Chapter 2, we will get into the nuts and bolts. We will begin to explore the simple, concrete actions you can take, starting right in your own home. We'll talk about your kitchen, your shopping habits, your energy consumption, and much more. Each chapter will provide you with the knowledge and the tools you need to make small changes that add up to a big impact. So, I invite you to continue on this journey. Be open, be curious, and be kind to yourself in the process. Remember, every sustainable choice, no matter how small it may seem, is a step in the right direction. It's a vote for the kind of world you want to live in. Thank you for listening, and I look forward to joining you again in the next chapter. Welcome back. In our first chapter, we laid the groundwork, exploring what sustainability truly means and why it's so relevant to our lives here in America. We talked about moving past the idea that sustainable living is about sacrifice, and instead seeing it as a smart, forward-thinking way to build a healthier and more secure future. We promised that this journey wouldn't be about giant, impossible leaps, but about small, manageable steps. Today, we're going to take our very first steps, and we're going to start in what is often called the heart of the home, the kitchen. Why the kitchen? Because it's a place of constant activity. It's where we nourish our families, but it's also where a significant portion of our household waste and resource consumption originates. From the food we buy to the way we store it and the packaging it comes in, our kitchens offer some of the most powerful opportunities for immediate and impactful change. So in this chapter, we'll focus on the conscious kitchen, with a special emphasis on tackling two of the biggest culprits of waste, food and plastic. Let's start with food waste. The numbers are truly staggering. It's estimated that in the United States, we throw away somewhere between 30 to 40% of our entire food supply. Imagine coming home from the grocery store with 4 bags of food and immediately throwing one of them directly into the trash. That's essentially what's happening on a national scale. This isn't just a waste of food, it's a waste of the water, the land, the energy, and the labor that went into growing, processing, and transporting it. Plus, it's a huge waste of your hard-earned money. The good news is that curbing food waste in your own home is surprisingly simple. The first and most effective strategy is to become a planner. Meal planning is a game changer. Take a little time each week, maybe on a Sunday afternoon, to think about the meals you'll eat for the coming days. Look at your calendar. Do you have a busy night where you'll need something quick? Are you eating out one evening? Once you have a rough plan, make a detailed grocery list based only on the ingredients you'll need. The simple act of going to the store with a list prevents impulse buys and ensures that you're not purchasing food that will just sit in the back of your fridge until it goes bad. And here's a pro tip. Never shop when you're hungry. You're far more likely to buy extra food you don't need when your stomach is rumbling. Next, it's important to understand the labels on your food. Many of us are confused by dates like sell by, best if used by, and use by, and this confusion leads to a lot of perfectly good food being thrown away. Sell by is a date for the retailer, not for you. It tells the store how long to display the product for sale. Best if used by is an indicator of quality, not safety. The food will be at its peak freshness and flavor before this date, but it's often still perfectly safe and edible for days, weeks, or even months after. The only date to take seriously as a safety deadline is use by, which is typically found on more perishable items like fresh meat and dairy. Trust your senses. If it looks fine, smells fine, and tastes fine, it's probably fine to eat. Proper storage is another key to making your food last. We often shorten the life of our produce without even realizing it. For example, many fruits and vegetables release ethylene gas as they ripen, which can cause other nearby produce to spoil faster. Store things like bananas, avocados, and tomatoes separately from ethylene-sensitive items like apples, leafy greens, and carrots. Keep your herbs fresh by trimming the stems and placing them in a jar with a little water, like a bouquet of flowers. Store potatoes and onions in a cool, dark place, but not together, as onions can cause potatoes to sprout. A quick online search for how to store insert food name can teach you simple tricks to extend the life of almost anything you buy, saving you money and reducing waste. And of course, we have to talk about leftovers. In America, we have a tendency to view leftovers as a boring consolation prize. Let's reframe that. Leftovers are a gift to your future self. They represent a delicious meal that's already cooked, saving you time and money. If you don't want to eat the same thing 2 days in a row, get creative. Leftover roasted chicken can become chicken salad sandwiches, tacos, or soup. Extra vegetables can be thrown into a frittata or a stir-fry. Having a designated leftover night each week is a great way to ensure everything gets eaten up before you cook something new. Now, let's shift our focus to the second major issue in the kitchen: plastic. Look around your kitchen right now. Plastic is everywhere, in our storage containers, our disposable bags, our drink bottles, and wrapped around nearly everything we buy. While it's incredibly convenient, single-use plastic has created a massive pollution problem. The journey to a less plastic kitchen begins with embracing reusables. The easiest switch is the reusable shopping bag. Keep a few in your car, by your front door, or in your purse so you're never caught without them. This simple habit alone can prevent hundreds of plastic bags from entering the environment each year. Take it a step further with reusable produce bags, those little mesh or cloth bags, instead of the thin plastic ones at the grocery store. Invest in a reusable water bottle and a travel coffee mug. Not only does this cut down on waste, but many coffee shops also offer a small discount for bringing your own cup. Rethink your food storage. Plastic wrap and disposable sandwich bags are convenient, but the waste adds up quickly. There are so many fantastic alternatives now. Glass containers are a great investment. They don't stain or hold odors, they're safe for the microwave and dishwasher, and they last for years. Beeswax wraps are a natural, pliable, and reusable alternative to plastic wrap for covering bowls or wrapping up sandwiches. Silicone stretch lids can fit over containers of various sizes, creating an airtight seal. Making these swaps might cost a little more upfront, but they will save you money in the long run since you'll no longer need to constantly buy disposable options. Another powerful strategy is to buy in bulk whenever possible. The bulk bins at the grocery store are your best friend for reducing packaging waste. You can buy things like oats, rice, nuts, pasta, and spices, and you can buy the exact amount you need, which also helps with food waste. Many stores even allow you to bring your own clean, empty jars and containers. Just have them weighed at customer service before you fill them up. This one change can dramatically reduce the amount of plastic and cardboard you bring into your home. As we've seen, the kitchen is a fantastic place to start your sustainability journey. The changes we've discussed today, planning your meals, understanding food labels, storing food correctly, embracing leftovers, and swapping disposable plastics for reusables, are not drastic sacrifices. They are small, mindful shifts in our habits. They are choices that save money, reduce waste, and connect us more deeply to the food we eat. Don't feel pressured to do everything at once. Pick one thing. Maybe this week, you'll focus on making a meal plan and a detailed grocery list. Or perhaps you'll finally buy that reusable water bottle you've been meaning to get. Start there. Once that becomes a habit, pick another. Progress, not perfection, is the goal. Thank you for tuning in to Chapter 2. I hope you feel inspired to look at your kitchen with fresh eyes and see the opportunities for positive change. In our next chapter, we'll move beyond the kitchen to explore another critical area of the home: how we use and conserve energy and water. I look forward to having you with me. Hello and welcome back to our journey toward a more sustainable American lifestyle. In our last chapter, we spent time in the heart of the home, the kitchen, and uncovered simple ways to tackle the very tangible problems of food and plastic waste. We learned that being mindful about what we bring into our homes and what we throw away is a powerful first step. Today, we're going to expand that mindfulness to resources that are often invisible but essential to our daily comfort: energy and water. This is Chapter 3, The Efficient Home, Smart Savings on Energy and Water. Think about it. Every time you flip a switch, adjust the thermostat, or turn on a faucet, you're using resources. And just like with food, wasting these resources is not only tough on the environment, it's also tough on your wallet. The great news is that creating a more efficient home doesn't require expensive renovations or a degree in engineering. It simply requires a few new habits and a little bit of know-how. So, let's start by shedding some light on how to tame your energy consumption. For most American families, the biggest slices of the energy pie are heating, cooling, and lighting. Let's begin with the easiest win: lighting. If you haven't already made the switch, it's time to say goodbye to your old incandescent light bulbs. LED bulbs, which stands for light emitting diode, are the undisputed champion of energy efficiency. An LED bulb uses at least 75% less energy than a traditional bulb and can last up to 25 times longer. Yes, they cost a bit more upfront, but the savings on your electricity bill and the sheer convenience of not having to change bulbs for years make them an incredibly smart investment. Make it a simple rule: as your old bulbs burn out, replace them with LEDs. And of course, let's not forget the simplest habit of all, one our parents probably taught us: turn off the lights when you leave a room. It costs nothing and its effect is immediate. Now, let's talk about a hidden energy drain that's lurking in almost every room of your house. It's often called phantom load or vampire power. This refers to the energy that your electronic devices and appliances draw even when they are turned off. Your television, your game console, your computer, your phone charger. If it's plugged in, it's likely using power. While the amount for any single device is small, together they can account for up to 10% of your home's electricity use. The solution is wonderfully simple: power strips. Plug your entire entertainment center, TV, cable box, sound system, game console, into a single power strip. When you're done watching, just flip one switch to cut off power to everything at once. Do the same for your home office setup. It's an easy habit to build and a great way to slay those energy vampires. Next, let's tackle the biggest energy user in most homes: heating and cooling. Keeping our homes comfortable is a priority, but it doesn't have to be excessively expensive or wasteful. The single best tool at your disposal is a programmable or smart thermostat. Instead of constantly fiddling with the temperature, you can set it to automatically adjust when you're away from home or asleep. There's no point in paying to perfectly heat or cool an empty house. Even adjusting your thermostat by just a few degrees, a little warmer in the summer, a little cooler in the winter, can lead to significant savings. Also, think about how air moves in your home. Ceiling fans aren't just for summer. In the summer, make sure your fan is spinning counterclockwise to push cool air down. In the winter, reverse the direction to clockwise on a low speed. This will pull cool air up and push the warm air that has risen to the ceiling back down into the room, making you feel warmer. Finally, become a leak detective. A huge amount of energy is lost through small cracks and gaps around your windows and doors. On a windy day, carefully feel around the frames for drafts. Sealing these leaks with inexpensive weather stripping or caulk is one of the most cost-effective ways to improve your home's efficiency. Now let's switch gears from energy to our other vital, invisible resource: water. We often take for granted the clean water that flows so easily from our taps, but it is a finite and precious resource. Conserving water at home is easy, and most of the work happens in one room: the bathroom. The bathroom is where the average American family uses the most water, primarily for showers and toilets. The challenge of a shorter shower can actually be fun. Try timing yourself. Can you get your shower time down to 5 minutes? A 5-minute shower can save thousands of gallons of water per year compared to a 10 or 15-minute shower. Another incredibly simple habit is to turn off the tap while you're brushing your teeth or shaving. Letting the water run for those 2 minutes while brushing can waste up to 8 gallons of water every day. That's over 2,900 gallons a year just from that one small act. Toilets are another major water user. An older toilet can use 3 to 5 gallons per flush, while newer, high-efficiency models use closer to 1.5. If you have an older toilet, you don't necessarily need to replace it. You can place a plastic bottle filled with water and a few pebbles inside the toilet tank, safely away from the flushing mechanism. This displaces water, so the tank fills with less, saving water with every flush. Also, be sure to check for silent leaks. A simple way to do this is to put a few drops of food coloring in the toilet tank. Wait about 15 minutes without flushing. If you see any color in the toilet bowl, you have a leak that's silently wasting water, and it's time to have it fixed. Of course, we also use a lot of water in the kitchen and laundry room. The principles we learned with our appliances for energy saving also apply here for water saving. Always run a full load. Your dishwasher and washing machine are designed to be most efficient when they're full. Scrape your plates instead of pre-rinsing them before putting them in the dishwasher. Modern dishwashers are powerful enough to handle it, and you'll save dozens of gallons of water. The tips in this chapter, from switching to LEDs and using power strips, to sealing drafts and taking shorter showers, are all about being a smart and efficient manager of your home. This isn't about deprivation. It's about optimization. It's about getting the same comfort and convenience we value, but by using fewer resources. And the beautiful result is that every time you save energy or water, you are also saving money. You'll see the proof of your efforts right there in your monthly utility bills. Thank you for joining me for Chapter 3. I hope you feel empowered to become an efficiency expert in your own home. In our next chapter, we're going to step outside our front door and look at another area where our daily choices have a huge impact: how we shop. We'll explore the world of conscious consumerism and learn how to make purchases that align with our values. I look forward to seeing you then. Hello and welcome back. In our journey so far, we've focused on the inner workings of our homes. We've tackled waste in the kitchen and learned to be more efficient with our energy and water. We've been acting as managers of our household resources. Now, we're going to step outside our front door and examine the primary way that things enter our homes in the first place, through shopping. This is Chapter 4, The Thoughtful Shopper, Practicing Conscious Consumerism. We live in a culture that is built on consumption. From the moment we wake up, we are bombarded with messages telling us to buy more, upgrade now, and get the latest and greatest. Shopping has become a pastime, a form of entertainment, and for some, even a way to cope with stress. This constant cycle of buying has a tremendous impact on our planet's resources and on our own financial well-being. But what if we could change our relationship with stuff? What if we could transform shopping from a mindless habit into a mindful act of intention? That is the core idea behind conscious consumerism. Conscious consumerism simply means being aware of the impact of your purchasing decisions. It means understanding that every dollar you spend is a vote for the kind of world you want to live in. It's not about depriving yourself or never buying anything new again. It's about empowerment. It's about shifting your mindset from passively consuming to actively choosing. To make this practical, I want to introduce a simple mental checklist, a set of 3 core questions to ask yourself before you make a purchase, whether it's a new pair of jeans, a kitchen gadget, or even your weekly groceries. The first question is the most important. Do I truly need this? This question forces us to pause and distinguish between a genuine need and a fleeting want. A need is something essential for our well-being: food, shelter, functional clothing. A want is often an impulse, driven by advertising, social pressure, or a desire for something new and exciting. In our modern American life, the line between these two has become incredibly blurry. Marketing is designed to make you feel like you need the latest smartphone or that specific brand of sneakers to be happy or successful. So, how do you fight this impulse? One of the most effective strategies for non-essential items is the 30-day rule. If you see something you want, instead of buying it on the spot, write it down and wait 30 days. After a month has passed, if you still genuinely feel you need it and have thought about how it will fit into your life, then you can consider buying it. You'll be amazed at how often the initial desire completely fades away. Another simple tip is to unsubscribe from marketing emails from your favorite stores. Removing that daily temptation from your inbox can drastically reduce impulse buys. Ultimately, asking, "Do I truly need this?" helps you save a significant amount of money and prevents your home from filling up with clutter you'll later have to manage. Once you've determined that you do, in fact, need to make a purchase, it's time for the second question: what is this made of, and who made it? This question encourages us to look beyond the price tag and consider the quality, durability, and origin of the product. Let's start with materials. Whenever possible, opt for items made from natural, renewable, or recycled materials instead of virgin plastics. Choose a wooden cutting board over a plastic one, or look for clothing made from organic cotton, linen, or wool. This leads directly to the idea of durability. We live in an age of fast fashion and disposable electronics, where things are made so cheaply that it's often easier to throw them away and buy a new one than it is to get them repaired. A conscious shopper fights this trend by adopting a buy it once, buy it well mentality. A well-made high-quality item might have a higher initial price, but its cost per use is often far lower than a cheap alternative you have to replace year after year. Think of a sturdy leather belt that lasts a decade versus a cheap one that cracks after 6 months, or a solid piece of cast iron cookware that can be passed down for generations. Investing in quality is an investment in your future and a vote against our throwaway culture. Part of this question also involves considering where a product came from. Buying from local businesses, artisans, and farmers when you can is a powerful sustainable choice that supports your community economy and reduces the environmental footprint of long-distance shipping. Finally, after you've answered the first 2 questions, it's time for the third: what will happen to this when I'm done with it? This crucial question forces us to think about the entire life cycle of a product, especially its end. Before you even bring an item home, consider its exit plan. Is it packaged in a mountain of non-recyclable plastic? If so, maybe there's an alternative with minimal or compostable packaging. More importantly, what happens to the item itself? Is it something that can be easily repaired if it breaks? Can it be recycled in your local facility? Or is it a complex mix of materials destined for a landfill for the next few hundred years? This forward-thinking approach makes you a much smarter shopper. It also opens your eyes to the incredible power of the second-hand market. Before buying new, always consider if you can find what you need second-hand. Thrift stores, consignment shops, and online marketplaces are treasure troves of high-quality items looking for a second life. buying used is one of the most sustainable actions you can take. It saves an item from the landfill, completely bypasses the resource-intensive manufacturing process of a new product, and saves you a lot of money. These 3 questions: do I need it? What is it made of? And what happens to it when I'm done? Form the foundation of thoughtful shopping. They transform a simple transaction into a moment of mindful decision-making. Again, the goal is not perfection. You will still buy new things. You will still own plastic items. But by integrating this mental checklist into your habits, you will begin to accumulate less, choose better, and align your spending with your values. You'll find a new sense of satisfaction not just in what you own, but in what you thoughtfully choose not to own. Thank you for joining me for Chapter 4. I hope this gives you a new perspective for your next shopping trip. In our next chapter, we're going to circle back to the idea of waste, but look at it from a new angle. We'll go beyond the bin to rethink our relationship with trash and master the often confusing world of recycling. I'll see you then. Hello and welcome back. In our last chapter, we stood at the checkout counter and learned to be more thoughtful shoppers, asking critical questions before bringing new items into our lives. We've worked on managing what comes into our homes and how we use the resources within them. Now, it's time to address the final step in an item's journey: what happens when we're done with it? It's time to talk about the trash can. This is Chapter 5, Beyond the Bin, Rethinking Waste and Mastering Recycling. For most of us, dealing with waste means a simple choice. Is this trash, or is this recycling? We sort our items into 2 bins and wheel them to the curb once a week, and that's the end of the story. But if we want to live a truly sustainable lifestyle, we need to expand that thinking. We need to go beyond the bin and adopt a more holistic view of waste. A powerful framework for this is the 5 R's: refuse, reduce, reuse, recycle, and rot. You might have heard of reduce, reuse, recycle, but this expanded version adds 2 crucial steps at the beginning and end, and it prioritizes them in order of importance. The first, and most powerful, R, is refuse. This is our first line of defense against waste, and it means stopping waste at the source by simply saying no. This is about preventing clutter and trash from ever entering your home in the first place. What does this look like in daily life? It's saying, no, thank you, to the plastic straw in your drink at a restaurant. It's refusing the plastic bag for a single item you can easily carry. It's declining the free promotional pen or keychain from a conference that you know will just end up in a junk drawer. It's opting out of junk mail catalogs. Each act of refusal is a small but powerful statement that prevents waste before it has a chance to be created. It costs nothing, and its impact is immediate. The second R is reduce, which we explored in detail in our last chapter on conscious consumerism. It's the simple idea of consuming less overall. It's about asking, do I truly need this? And choosing to buy fewer, better things. This also means reducing your reliance on single-use items. For example, reducing your use of paper towels by switching to reusable cloth rags for cleaning up spills. Reducing your need for disposable coffee pods by using a French press or a drip coffee maker. The goal is to consciously lower the total volume of stuff that flows through your life. Next in the hierarchy is reuse. Before you even think about the recycling bin, ask yourself, can this be used again? Reusing an item saves the energy and resources needed to recycle it, and it's far better than sending it to a landfill. This is where creativity comes in. That glass salsa jar can be washed and used to store leftovers, pack a salad for lunch, or organize nuts and bolts in the garage. An old t-shirt with a hole in it can be cut up into perfect cleaning rags. An empty egg carton is a fantastic seed starter for a garden. Reuse also means prioritizing repair. When an appliance breaks or a piece of clothing gets a tear, is your first instinct to replace it? Let's challenge that. Learning a few simple repair skills, like sewing on a button or fixing a wobbly chair leg, is not only empowering but is a radical act of sustainability in our disposable culture. Only after we have tried to refuse, reduce, and reuse do we arrive at the 4th R, recycle. Recycling is important, but it's often seen as a magic bullet solution, which it is not. The recycling system in the United States is complex, varies wildly from city to city, and is easily broken by contamination. Many of us engage in what's called wish cycling, tossing something in the blue bin hoping it's recyclable. This well-intentioned act can actually do more harm than good. So, let's learn to recycle correctly. The single most important rule is to know your local guidelines. There is no national recycling law. What's accepted in Phoenix, Arizona, might be considered trash in Portland, Maine. The best thing you can do is go directly to your city or county's waste management website. They will have a clear, detailed list of exactly what they accept. Print it out and post it on your fridge. This is your ultimate guide. The second universal rule is, Clean, empty, and dry. Recyclables are bundled and sold as raw materials. If they are contaminated with food and liquid, they lose their value. That half-empty bottle of ketchup or greasy peanut butter jar can contaminate an entire bale of plastics, forcing the whole lot to be sent to a landfill. You don't need to scrub them until they sparkle, but a quick rinse to remove food residue is essential. Let them dry, and put caps back on bottles if your local rules allow. And remember, greasy pizza boxes are a no-go. The oil contaminates the paper fibers. Tear off the clean top for recycling and compost or trash the greasy bottom. It's also crucial to know the common contaminants that clog up recycling machinery. Plastic bags and plastic film are the #1 problem. They wrap around the gears and shut down entire facilities. Never put plastic bags in your curbside bin. Instead, collect them and take them to the drop-off bins at most major grocery stores. Other common wish-cycled items include disposable coffee cups, which have a plastic lining, small items like loose bottle caps that fall through the screens, and electronics or batteries, which are considered e-waste and require special disposal. To avoid feeling overwhelmed, focus on the basics. Get really good at consistently recycling the most valuable and commonly accepted materials. Metal cans like aluminum and steel, plastic bottles and jugs, typically with a #1 or #2 symbol, clean paper, and flattened cardboard. Finally, we arrive at the 5th R, rot. This refers to composting. Any organic waste, food scraps, coffee grounds, eggshells, yard trimmings, can be turned back into nutrient-rich soil instead of being sent to a landfill. When organic matter is buried in a landfill, it's deprived of oxygen and decomposes anaerobically, producing methane, a greenhouse gas far more potent than carbon dioxide. Composting is nature's recycling program. It completes the cycle, turning waste into a valuable resource for your garden or houseplants. So the next time you approach your bins, think of the 5 R's hierarchy. Refuse what you don't need. Reduce what you do need. Reuse what you have. Recycle what you can, correctly. And rot the rest. This framework moves us beyond a simple choice of 2 bins and toward a truly thoughtful relationship with waste. Thank you for joining me for Chapter 5. In our next chapter, we'll look at the chemicals we bring into our homes and explore how to keep our living spaces sparkling clean with non-toxic, green cleaning solutions. I'll see you then. Hello and welcome back. So far on our sustainability journey, we've decluttered our shopping habits, streamlined our waste, and optimized our home's use of energy and water. We've been focusing on creating a home that is not only gentle on the planet, but also a more efficient and mindful place to live. Today, we're going to turn our attention inward, to the very air we breathe inside our homes, and the substances we use to keep them clean. This is Chapter 6, Clean and Green, a guide to non-toxic housekeeping. For decades, we've been taught that the smell of a clean home is the smell of bleach or strong, artificial fragrances. The cleaning aisle at any American supermarket is a dizzying display of brightly colored liquids, each promising to be tougher on germs and more powerful on grime. We've filled the cupboards under our sinks with a specialized spray for every surface. But there's a hidden cost to this chemical arsenal. Many conventional cleaning products contain harsh ingredients, like ammonia and chlorine, as well as volatile organic compounds, or VOCs. When we use these products, VOCs are released into the air, contributing to indoor air pollution, which can be a problem for everyone, especially those with asthma or allergies. Furthermore, everything we wash down the drain eventually makes its way into our waterways, impacting aquatic ecosystems. The wonderful truth is that you do not need these harsh chemicals to have a sparkling, clean, hygienic home. For generations before the advent of the modern chemical industry, people kept their homes immaculate using a few simple, safe, and incredibly effective ingredients. By adopting a green cleaning routine, you create a healthier environment for your family, reduce your environmental impact, and, as an added bonus, save a significant amount of money. So, let's build your green cleaning toolkit. You'll be amazed to learn that you can replace almost every specialized cleaner in your house with just a few powerhouse ingredients that you might already have in your pantry. The first superstar is distilled white vinegar. Don't let the strong smell fool you. It dissipates quickly as it dries. Vinegar is a mild acid, which makes it a fantastic all-purpose cleaner. It cuts through grease, dissolves soap scum and hard water deposits, and has disinfecting properties. It is a champion for cleaning windows, countertops, and floors. A word of caution, because it is acidic, you should never use vinegar on natural stone surfaces like granite or marble, as it can etch the surface over time. Our second hero ingredient is baking soda. Chemically known as sodium bicarbonate, baking soda is a gentle, non-toxic abrasive. It's perfect for tasks that require a bit of scrubbing power. It's also a phenomenal natural deodorizer. You can use it to scrub sinks and bathtubs, clean tile grout, deodorize your refrigerator, and even sprinkle it on your carpet before vacuuming to lift dirt and eliminate odors. Next up is Castile soap. This is a versatile, vegetable-based soap, unlike most commercial soaps which are made with animal fats or synthetic detergents. A little bit of liquid Castile soap, like the popular Dr. Bronner's brand, goes a very long way. Diluted with water, it makes a perfect all-purpose surface cleaner, a gentle dish soap, and an effective floor cleaner. It cleans beautifully without harsh chemicals. With these three staples, vinegar, baking soda, and Castile soap, you are 90% of the way there. Add in a little lemon juice for its natural bleaching and deodorizing power, and you're set. Now, let's put these ingredients into action with a few simple recipes. To start, you'll want a couple of reusable spray bottles, preferably glass, to mix and store your cleaners. First, let's make an all-purpose cleaner. This will replace your standard kitchen and multi-surface sprays. In a spray bottle, simply combine 1 part distilled white vinegar and 1 part water. If you dislike the smell of vinegar, you can add 10 to 15 drops of an essential oil like lemon, lavender, or tea tree oil, which also has antibacterial properties. Shake it up, and you're ready to clean countertops, the outside of appliances, and much more. For tougher jobs that need scrubbing, create a scouring paste. In a small bowl, mix baking soda with just enough water or liquid Castile soap to form a thick paste. Apply this to your bathtub, your sink, or your tile grout. Let it sit for a few minutes, then scrub with a brush or sponge and rinse away. It will lift stains and grime without scratching your surfaces. To replace your blue window cleaner, make a streak-free glass cleaner. In a spray bottle, mix 1 part vinegar with 4 parts water. That's it. Spray it on your windows and mirrors and wipe clean with a reusable microfiber cloth or old newspaper for a crystal clear, streak-free shine. Beyond the recipes, green cleaning is also about adopting sustainable habits. Ditch the disposable paper towels and invest in a set of high-quality microfiber cloths. They are incredibly effective at trapping dust and grime, often with just water, and can be washed and reused hundreds of times. Instead of disposable mop pads, use a mop with a washable, reusable head. If making your own cleaners doesn't appeal to you, that's perfectly okay. The market for green cleaning products has exploded. When you're shopping, look for products with transparent ingredient lists. Seek out third-party certifications, like the EPA's Safer Choice logo, which indicates that the product's ingredients have been reviewed for human and environmental safety. Also, look for companies that offer concentrated refills, which drastically cut down on plastic packaging. Making the switch to green cleaning is a simple yet profound step. It's a choice that protects the health of your family, reduces water pollution, and cuts down on plastic waste. It empowers you to take control of the ingredients you use in your home, moving away from harsh chemicals and toward a simpler, safer, and more sustainable way of life. Thank you for joining me for Chapter 6. In our next chapter, we're going to take our sustainable mindset on the road and explore one of the biggest parts of the average American's carbon footprint, transportation. We'll discuss how to green your commute and make more mindful choices every time you travel. I'll see you then. Hello and welcome back. For the past several chapters, we have focused our attention within the 4 walls of our homes, our kitchens, our cleaning closets, and our consumption habits. We've worked on creating a personal sanctuary that is more sustainable and mindful. Today, we are going to take that mindset and hit the road. We're going to look at the choices we make every time we leave our driveway, because for most Americans, our biggest environmental impact lies in how we get from point A to point B. This is Chapter 7, Greening Your Commute, Mindful Transportation Choices. The automobile is deeply woven into the fabric of American life and culture. It represents freedom, mobility, and for many, a simple necessity to get to work, school, and the grocery store. The goal of this chapter is not to villainize the car or to suggest that everyone should sell theirs tomorrow. For millions of Americans, especially in suburban and rural areas, a personal vehicle is essential. Instead, the goal is to rethink our relationship with our cars and to become more intentional about when and how we use them. It's about shifting from defaulting to the car for every single trip, to pausing and asking, what is the smartest and most sustainable way to make this journey? Let's begin with the car you already own. You don't need an electric vehicle to make a difference. You can start by driving more efficiently. First, become a master of trip chaining. This simply means planning your errands in a single, logical loop, instead of making multiple separate trips. Instead of going to the post office in the morning, coming home, and then going back out to the grocery store in the afternoon, plan to do both, along with any other stops, in one continuous journey. This simple habit saves a surprising amount of fuel, reduces wear and tear on your vehicle, and saves you precious time. Second, basic vehicle maintenance is an act of sustainability. A well-maintained car is a more fuel-efficient car. One of the easiest things you can do is check your tire pressure regularly. Underinflated tires increase rolling resistance and can reduce your gas mileage by several %. Follow the recommended pressure listed on the sticker inside your driver's side door. Similarly, getting regular oil changes and keeping your engine tuned according to your owner's manual ensures that your car is running as efficiently as possible. And here's a simple tip: lighten your load. Don't use your trunk for long-term storage. The heavier your car is, the more fuel it has to burn to get moving. Now, let's explore the powerful options that exist beyond your personal car. The most accessible alternatives for many are walking and biking. We often overlook the power of our own 2 feet for short trips. Is the library, the corner store, or a friend's house less than a mile away? Consider walking or cycling instead of driving. This mode of active transportation offers a double benefit. It produces 0 emissions, and it's fantastic for your physical and mental health. It turns a mundane errand into an opportunity for exercise and a chance to connect with your neighborhood. Of course, for longer trips, public transportation is a sustainability superstar. Using a bus, subway, or train drastically reduces your personal carbon footprint. Think about it. One full bus can take dozens of cars off the road, reducing traffic congestion and air pollution for everyone. If you live in an area with a public transit system but have never used it, I encourage you to give it a try. Modern transit apps on your smartphone have made navigating routes and schedules easier than ever. Maybe you can't take it every day, but perhaps you could commit to Transit Tuesday or using it for your commute just 1 day a week. Every car trip replaced is a victory. Another great option is to maximize the efficiency of car trips that are already happening. I'm talking about carpooling. If you and a neighbor or coworker have a similar commute, why take 2 cars? Carpooling cuts your fuel and parking costs in half, reduces traffic, and can make the drive more enjoyable. It's a fantastic option for the daily work commute, school runs, or even getting to kids' sporting events. And in the age of apps, ride-sharing services often have a pool or shared option that allows you to share the ride with others going in the same direction for a lower price and a smaller environmental impact. The way you drive also matters. Aggressive driving habits, like rapid acceleration, speeding, and hard braking, are gas guzzlers. A calm, steady approach to driving can improve your fuel economy by a significant margin. On the highway, use your cruise control to maintain a steady speed, which is more efficient than constantly adjusting the accelerator. Finally, the rise of telecommuting and flexible work schedules has presented one of the most powerful tools for greening our commutes, eliminating them entirely. If your job allows for it, explore the possibility of working from home even just 1 or 2 days a week. The environmental savings from millions of Americans skipping their daily commute are absolutely massive. As you can see, mindful transportation isn't an all-or-nothing proposition. It's a spectrum of choices. It's about trip-chaining your errands 1 day, walking to the post office the next, and carpooling to work the day after that. It's about recognizing that you have options and choosing the one that makes the most sense for each specific journey. Over time, these small, intentional choices add up to a significant reduction in your carbon footprint, your transportation costs, and your stress levels. Thank you for joining me today. In our next chapter, we're going to turn our attention to our closets and explore the environmental and social impacts of the clothing industry. We'll discuss the concept of fast fashion and learn how to build a more sustainable and ethical wardrobe. I look forward to having you with me then. Hello, and welcome back to our series. In our last chapter, we looked at the impact of our choices on the road. Today, we're heading back inside, to a part of our home that is deeply personal and often overflowing, the closet. We're going to talk about the clothes on our backs, the stories they tell, and how we can build a wardrobe that is not only stylish and functional but also kind to the planet and its people. This is Chapter 8, The Sustainable Wardrobe, Combating Fast Fashion. Have you ever stood in front of a closet packed with clothes and felt like you have absolutely nothing to wear? It's a strangely common American experience. It's often the direct result of a modern phenomenon known as fast fashion. Fast fashion is a business model based on the rapid production of huge quantities of inexpensive, trendy clothing. Styles that appear on the fashion runway are mass-produced and in stores within weeks, sold for shockingly low prices. It encourages us to see clothing as disposable, wear it a few times for a season, and then toss it when it goes out of style or falls apart. This constant churn feels exciting, but it comes with immense hidden costs. Let's quickly pull back the curtain on the environmental impact. The fashion industry is one of the most resource-intensive in the world. To produce a single cotton t-shirt, it can take up to 700 gallons of water. That's enough for one person to drink for more than 2 years. The dyeing and finishing processes for textiles are a major source of water pollution, releasing harmful chemicals into rivers and streams. And then there's the fabric itself. Synthetic materials like polyester, nylon, and acrylic are essentially plastics made from fossil fuels. Every time we wash these garments, they shed tiny plastic fibers, called microplastics, which flow into our waterways and oceans. Finally, this business model creates a mountain of waste. The average American now throws away about 81 pounds of clothing every single year, and the vast majority of that ends up in landfills. So, how do we step off this trend treadmill and build a more sustainable wardrobe? It's about shifting our mindset from quantity to quality, from disposability to durability. It's not about giving up personal style, it's about elevating it with intention. The first and most important principle of sustainable fashion is this: wear what you already own. The most sustainable garment is the one that's already hanging in your closet. Before you even think about buying something new, take some time to shop your own closet. Pull things out you haven't worn in a while. Try creating new combinations. You might be surprised by the outfits you can put together. This is also a great time to embrace the lost art of mending. A missing button, a small tear, or a fallen hem are not death sentences for a piece of clothing. A few minutes with a needle and thread can give a beloved item a new lease on life. And if something doesn't fit quite right anymore, consider getting it tailored. A small investment in tailoring can make a good piece of clothing look great, ensuring you'll want to wear it for years to come. The second principle is buy less and choose well. This is the core of a sustainable wardrobe. Instead of buying 10 cheap, trendy items that will be out of style next year, invest in 1 or 2 high-quality, timeless pieces that you will love and wear for a decade. When you are shopping, become a fabric detective. Look for durable, natural fibers like organic cotton, linen, hemp, and wool. These materials are generally more breathable, feel better against the skin, and are biodegradable at the end of their life. Check the construction of the garment. Are the seams strong? Is the stitching even? A well-made garment is a long-lasting garment. This approach of prioritizing quality over quantity will not only reduce your environmental footprint, but will also, over time, save you money and give you a wardrobe of clothes you truly love. Third, let's talk about the thrill of the hunt. Embrace secondhand. Before buying a new piece of clothing, make it a habit to check your local thrift or consignment store first. Thrifting is the ultimate form of recycling in fashion. It gives a perfectly good piece of clothing a second life, saves it from the landfill, and completely bypasses the resource-intensive process of manufacturing a new item. It's a treasure hunt where you can find unique, high-quality, and vintage pieces for a fraction of their original price. In addition to local shops, online platforms like ThreadUp, Poshmark, and The RealReal have made it easier than ever to buy and sell pre-loved clothing right from your home. Finally, our responsibility continues with how we care for our clothes. Sustainable laundry habits can make a huge difference. As we learned in a previous chapter, washing your clothes in cold water saves a tremendous amount of energy, as most of the energy used by a washing machine goes into heating the water. Cold water is also gentler on fabrics, which helps your clothes last longer. Always try to wash a full load, and wash your clothes less often. Items like jeans, sweaters, and jackets definitely don't need to be washed after every single wear. And whenever possible, line dry your clothes. The dryer is one of the most energy-hungry appliances in your home. Air drying is free, it prevents clothes from shrinking, and it extends the life of your garments. Building a sustainable wardrobe is a journey, not a destination. It's not about purging your entire closet and starting from scratch. It's about making small, mindful changes. It starts with mending that shirt instead of tossing it. It's checking the thrift store before the mall. It's washing your next load of laundry in cold water. Each of these choices helps you build a wardrobe that not only looks good but feels good, knowing it aligns with your values. Thank you for joining me. In our next chapter, we'll take the concept of water conservation beyond the bathroom and kitchen, exploring how to be water-wise in our yards and gardens, and understanding the hidden water footprint in our daily lives. I'll see you then. Hello and welcome back. In our journey so far, we have explored sustainability in nearly every corner of our lives, from our kitchens to our closets to our commutes. Back in Chapter 3, we talked about conserving water inside our homes, fixing leaky faucets, taking shorter showers, and turning off the tap. Those are crucial habits. But today, we're going to take our understanding of water conservation to a whole new level. We're going to step outside into the yard, and then we're going to look at the hidden water footprint embedded in everything we buy and eat. This is Chapter 9, Water-Wise Living, the Yard, the Garden, and Our Hidden Footprint. For many American households, especially those in suburban areas, the single biggest use of residential water happens outdoors. The quest for a perfect, lush, green lawn consumes billions of gallons of water every single day. While a beautiful yard is a source of pride, we can create stunning outdoor spaces that are far more water-wise and eco-friendly. It all starts with watering smarter, not harder. The first rule is to mind the clock. Water your lawn and garden in the early morning. Between 4 a.m. and 10 a.m. watering in the middle of a hot, sunny day is incredibly wasteful, as a large percentage of that precious water will simply evaporate before it can ever reach the roots of your plants. Second, water deeply but less frequently. A light sprinkle every day encourages shallow root growth, making your plants less resilient. A deep soaking once or twice a week encourages roots to grow deeper into the soil where they are better protected from heat and drought. A simple trick is to place an empty tuna can on your lawn when you water. When it's full, you've applied about 1 inch of water, which is a good weekly amount for most lawns. It's also crucial to make sure your water is going where it's needed. Regularly check your sprinklers for leaks and ensure the heads are adjusted to water your plants, not your sidewalk, driveway, or house. A misdirected sprinkler head is a source of constant, needless waste. For a more impactful, long-term solution, consider rethinking the landscape itself. Many of us are trying to grow plants that aren't suited for our local climate, which requires a constant input of water and resources. The sustainable alternative is to embrace native plants and xeriscaping. Xeriscaping is simply a term for designing a landscape that requires little or no irrigation. It doesn't mean your yard has to be just rocks and cacti. It means choosing beautiful, hardy plants, flowers, and shrubs that are native to your specific region. These plants are naturally adapted to your area's rainfall and soil conditions, so once they are established, they thrive with very little supplemental water. A native garden is not only low maintenance and water-wise, but it also creates a vital habitat for local birds, bees, and butterflies. Another powerful tool for any gardener is mulch. Applying a thick, 2 to 4 inch layer of organic mulch, like wood chips or shredded leaves, around your plants is like giving your garden a protective blanket. It helps the soil retain moisture, dramatically reduces evaporation, suppresses weeds that compete for water, and keeps the soil temperature stable. Finally, look to the sky for free water. Installing a simple rain barrel to collect the runoff from your downspouts is an easy and effective way to harvest hundreds of gallons of naturally soft, chlorine-free water that your garden will love. Now, let's move from the water we can see to the water we can't. This is the concept of virtual water, also known as our water footprint. Virtual water is the total volume of fresh water that is used to produce the goods and services we consume. It's the hidden water embedded in our food, our clothing, our technology, and our energy. Understanding this concept is key to making truly impactful, water-wise choices. The largest part of the average American's water footprint is their diet. It takes an enormous amount of water to raise livestock. For example, producing 1 pound of beef can require over 1,800 gallons of water, when you account for the water needed to grow the animal's feed, the water the animal drinks, and the water used in processing. In comparison, a pound of chicken takes around 500 gallons, and a pound of vegetables takes only about 39 gallons. This doesn't mean you have to become a vegetarian overnight. But it does show that reducing your meat consumption, even by 1 or 2 meals a week, is a powerful water conservation strategy. This also powerfully connects back to food waste. When you throw away a hamburger, you are not just wasting the meat, you are wasting the thousands of gallons of water it took to create it. Our water footprint extends to everything we buy. As we learned in the last chapter, that single cotton t-shirt required about 700 gallons of water to produce. Your smartphone, your laptop, the paper you write on, the coffee you drink, all of these items have a significant water footprint from their manufacturing and transportation. The goal of understanding virtual water is not to create guilt, but to foster awareness. It reveals the profound connection between all the sustainable habits we've been discussing. When you choose to buy less and buy secondhand, you are saving water. When you reduce your food waste, you are saving water. When you choose plant-based meals more often, you are saving water. Every decision to consume less is also a decision to conserve water on a global scale. So, being water-wise is a two-part practice. It's about the direct choices we make with our hoses and sprinklers, and it's about the indirect choices we make with our wallets and our forks. It's about valuing every drop, both seen and unseen. Thank you for joining me. In our next chapter, we will explore a modern, often overlooked aspect of sustainability, our digital footprint. We'll look at the hidden environmental costs of our online lives and find simple ways to be more sustainable in a connected world. I'll see you then. Hello and welcome back. Over the past 9 chapters, we have focused on the tangible aspects of sustainable living: the food in our fridge, the clothes in our closet, the car in our driveway, and the water in our pipes. These are things we can see and touch. But today, we are going to venture into a realm that feels invisible, weightless, and infinitely abundant: the digital world. We talk about storing our photos into the cloud and streaming movies over the air, language that makes our online lives feel ethereal and impact-free. But behind every click, every stream, and every email is a massive physical infrastructure with a very real environmental cost. This is Chapter 10, The Digital Footprint, Sustainability in a Connected World. The heart of our digital world is not in the clouds, but in massive, nondescript buildings on the ground called data centers. These are the physical homes of the internet. Picture a warehouse the size of a superstore, filled aisle after aisle with humming, blinking computer servers, all running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Every email you've ever sent, every photo you've uploaded, every movie you've streamed, it all lives on these servers. Powering and cooling these data centers requires a colossal amount of energy. Collectively, the world's data centers consume more electricity than some entire countries. A significant portion of this energy still comes from burning fossil fuels, contributing to greenhouse gas emissions. Furthermore, these server farms generate an immense amount of heat, and keeping them cool is a major challenge. Many facilities use vast quantities of water for their cooling systems, which connects back to the virtual water footprint we discussed in our last chapter. And then there are our personal devices, our smartphones, laptops, and tablets. The manufacturing of these gadgets is resource-intensive, requiring rare earth minerals and significant energy. The constant cycle of upgrading to the newest model has created one of the fastest-growing waste streams on the planet, electronic waste, or e-waste, which is often hazardous and difficult to recycle. The purpose of sharing this is not to make you feel guilty about using technology. It's an essential part of modern life. The goal is to simply make the invisible visible, so we can adopt a few simple habits to reduce our digital footprint, just as we've learned to reduce our physical one. Let's start with something we all use every day: email. Your email inbox is not just on your computer. Every single message, from important documents to 5-year-old spam, is stored on a server somewhere, consuming energy. A cluttered inbox is a form of energy waste. The first step is to tame your email. Periodically go through and delete old emails you no longer need. Even better, stop the clutter at the source. Take a few minutes each day to unsubscribe from promotional newsletters and marketing lists you never read. This not only saves server energy but also reduces the temptation for impulse shopping. Finally, make it a habit to regularly empty your email's trash and spam folders. Next, let's talk about streaming. Streaming video and music is one of the most data-intensive and therefore energy-intensive activities we do online. We can easily stream smarter. When you're watching a video on a small screen, like your phone or tablet, ask yourself if you really need to watch it in 4K or even high definition. Choosing standard definition, SD, uses significantly less data and energy, and you often won't even notice the difference in quality. For music and podcasts that you listen to frequently, consider downloading them to your device for offline playback instead of streaming them from the server every single time. And be wary of the autoplay feature on platforms like YouTube and Netflix. It's designed to keep you watching, but it often results in streaming content to an empty room after you've lost interest or fallen asleep. The same principle applies to our cloud storage services like Google Drive, iCloud, or Dropbox. Their convenience has led us to save everything: dozens of blurry photos for every good one, duplicate files, and documents we haven't looked at in a decade. Be mindful of your cloud clutter. Once every few months, take some time to go through your cloud storage and delete what you no longer need. It's a form of digital decluttering that frees up server space and reduces passive energy consumption. Beyond our online habits, let's consider our hardware. The most sustainable device is the one you already own. We can make our devices last longer. The constant pressure to upgrade is immense, but often, the performance difference between a new model and the one from a year or two ago is minimal for the average user. Protect your phone with a good case and screen protector. When the battery life starts to decline, look into replacing the battery, a simple, inexpensive repair that can give your device a whole new lease on life. And when it is finally time to get a new device, be sure to dispose of your old one responsibly. Look for official trade-in programs or certified e-waste recycling centers in your community to ensure that hazardous materials are handled safely. Finally, you can make a small difference by adjusting your device's settings. Lowering your screen brightness is one of the easiest ways to conserve your device's battery and reduce energy use. If your device has an OLED screen, using dark mode can also save a surprising amount of energy. Our digital lives are here to stay, but they don't have to come with such a heavy environmental price tag. By adopting these simple, mindful habits, cleaning our inboxes, streaming smarter, decluttering our cloud, and making our devices last, we can significantly reduce our collective digital footprint. Think of it as the 21st century version of turning off the lights when you leave a room. Thank you for joining me. In our next chapter, we'll zoom out from our personal habits and look at how we can contribute to sustainability on a larger scale, within our neighborhoods and communities. We'll explore the power of community action and local engagement. I'll see you then. Hello and welcome back. For the past 10 chapters, we have been meticulously working on our personal sustainability practices. We've transformed our kitchens, greened our cleaning routines, rethought our closets, and even cleaned up our digital lives. We have built a powerful foundation of individual action, and every single one of those changes matters. But the truth is, we don't live in a vacuum. We are part of neighborhoods, towns, and cities. And while our individual actions create a ripple, joining those ripples together is how we create a true wave of change. Today, we zoom out from our households to the wider community. This is Chapter 11, The Engaged Citizen, Sustainability Beyond Your Household. Sustainability, at its heart, has three pillars: environmental, economic, and social. So far, we've focused heavily on the environmental pillar. Now, we're going to see how deeply that connects to the economic health of our communities and the social fabric that binds us together. The goal is to move from being a sustainable consumer to being a sustainable citizen. Let's start right in your own neighborhood. One of the most powerful community-level actions you can take is to consciously support local and sustainable businesses. We've touched on this before, but let's look at why it's so vital. When you buy your vegetables from a local farmer's market, you're not just getting fresh food, you're preserving local farmland, reducing the carbon footprint of your meal, and keeping your money directly within your community's economy. When you choose to get your shoes repaired at a local cobbler instead of buying a new pair online, you're supporting a valuable skill and voting against a throwaway culture. Seek out these local gems. They are the backbone of a resilient and sustainable local economy. Next, get involved with your community's green spaces. Healthy communities have healthy parks, gardens, and natural areas. These spaces provide critical habitats for wildlife, help manage stormwater, cool our urban areas, and give us places to connect with nature and each other. There are many ways to contribute. You could volunteer for a park or river cleanup day. You could join a community garden, which is a fantastic way to grow your own food, learn from experienced gardeners, and build friendships. If you don't have the time to join, even a simple act like carrying a bag and picking up litter during your daily walk makes a tangible difference and sets a positive example. Fostering a sense of shared stewardship for these places is a cornerstone of a sustainable community. Consider the power of sharing. Our current model encourages every household to own one of everything. But does every house on the block really need its own lawnmower, power drill, and long extension ladder that each gets used only a few times a year? This is where the concept of a sharing economy comes in. You can start small by simply getting to know your neighbors and offering to lend and borrow tools. Some forward-thinking communities have even established formal tool libraries. This idea of sharing reduces overall consumption, saves everyone money, and builds powerful bonds of trust and reciprocity between neighbors, which is the very definition of social sustainability. As you begin to take these steps, you'll naturally connect with like-minded people. Search for local environmental groups or sustainability committees in your town. Follow them on social media to stay informed. Attending a local meeting or a green fair can be incredibly inspiring and will show you that you are not on this journey alone. There is strength, knowledge, and motivation in numbers. Now, let's talk about taking that engagement to the next level: civic action. This can sound intimidating, but it is one of the most effective ways to create lasting, large-scale change. Start by communicating with your local representatives. Your city council members, county commissioners, and mayor are the people making decisions that directly impact your community's sustainability. They decide on funding for public transportation, the creation of new bike lanes, the rules for your local recycling program, and the protection of green spaces. A simple, polite, and personal email or phone call from a constituent carries a surprising amount of weight. Let them know you support initiatives that promote a healthier, greener community. To do this effectively, you need to stay informed about local issues. Read your local newspaper or news website. Find out if your city has a climate action plan or a sustainability office. Are there public hearings coming up about a new development or a proposal for a community-wide composting program? Being an informed citizen allows you to advocate for the policies and projects you believe in. Finally, and most importantly, vote with the environment in mind. In every election, from your local school board to the national stage, you have the opportunity to choose leaders whose policies align with a sustainable future. This isn't about partisan politics, it's about pragmatism. Research the candidates. Look at their track records and their stated positions on issues like clean energy, conservation, and public transit. Your vote is your ultimate voice in shaping the rules that govern our society. Using it thoughtfully is perhaps the most significant act of a sustainable citizen. Stepping into community and civic engagement can feel like a big leap, but it doesn't have to be. It can start with simply introducing yourself to a neighbor. It can be a 5-minute email to your city council member. It can be choosing to spend your Saturday morning at a park cleanup instead of at the mall. These actions, combined with the efforts of your neighbors, are what transform personal habits into public progress and build communities that are not just sustainable, but resilient, connected, and thriving. Thank you for joining me. In our next chapter, we will turn our focus back inward to address a crucial, yet often overlooked, element of this journey, the human element. We'll discuss how to maintain our passion, avoid burnout, and cultivate a mindset of sustainable well-being. I'll see you then. Hello and welcome back. Over the course of our journey together, we have explored an incredible range of actions. We've audited our trash cans, changed our light bulbs, scrutinized our shopping carts, mended our clothes, and engaged with our communities. We've been busy, and the work we are doing is important. But in our passionate quest to live more sustainably, it's easy to overlook the most critical resource of all, our own energy, our own well-being, and our own hope. To sustain our efforts for the long haul, we must first learn how to sustain ourselves. This is Chapter 12, The Sustainable Self, Nurturing Your Mindset and Avoiding Burnout. If you've ever felt a sense of anxiety, sadness, or even hopelessness when you read headlines about climate change or see images of plastic pollution, you are not alone. There's a term for this feeling, eco-anxiety. It is a completely rational and valid response to the scale of the environmental challenges we face. This can be compounded by a feeling of personal burnout, the exhaustion that comes from trying to do everything perfectly, feeling like your efforts are just a drop in the ocean, or facing criticism from people who don't understand the changes you're making. This journey can sometimes feel isolating and overwhelming. So, how do we find the resilience to continue this important work with a sense of purpose and even joy? It starts by cultivating a sustainable mindset. The first and most important principle is to relentlessly embrace imperfection and celebrate progress. From the very beginning of this series, our mantra has been progress, not perfection. It is worth repeating, because this is the single biggest key to avoiding burnout. You will forget your reusable bags sometimes. You will buy something in plastic packaging. You will take a longer shower than you intended. This is not failure. This is being human. A sustainable lifestyle is not a rigid, all-or-nothing test that you can fail. It is a practice. Instead of focusing on the one thing you didn't do, I encourage you to take a moment each week to look back and acknowledge the positive changes you have made. You started a compost pile. You switched to LED bulbs. You fixed a shirt instead of throwing it away. These are real, tangible victories. Celebrate them. Next, it's vital to focus on your why and your sphere of influence. On days when you feel discouraged, reconnect with your personal motivation for starting this journey. Are you doing this for your children, to give them a healthier future? Is it driven by a deep love for nature and the outdoors? Is it about saving money and living a simpler life? Your why is your anchor and your fuel. Hold on to it. Then, consciously focus your energy on what you can actually control. Your own choices, your home, your voice in your community. While it is good to be aware of global issues, becoming overwhelmed by problems far outside your control can lead to paralysis. Act where you are. Your sphere of influence is where you have the most power to create real change. A powerful antidote to eco-anxiety is to actively connect with the very thing we are working to protect: nature. This doesn't mean you need to plan a week-long backpacking trip in a national park, though that's wonderful if you can. It can be as simple as taking a 15-minute walk in a local park without your phone. It can be tending to a small herb garden on your windowsill. It can be sitting on your porch and just watching the clouds or listening to the birds. These small acts of mindfulness reconnect us to the natural world's beauty and resilience. They remind us what's at stake, but they do so in a way that fills our cup rather than drains it. This connection fosters a sense of awe and gratitude, which are powerful motivators. Remember the last chapter? We are not on this journey alone. Find your community. Trying to swim against the current of a consumer-driven society can be exhausting if you do it in isolation. Seek out others who share your values. This could be a local environmental group, a community garden, or even an online forum. Sharing your successes, asking for advice when you're stuck, and simply having conversations with people who get it is incredibly validating. Community provides support, inspiration, and a crucial reminder that our individual ripples are part of a much larger, rising tide. Finally, give yourself permission to set realistic boundaries. You do not have to engage in every online argument about climate change. You do not have to read every single depressing news article. It is okay to protect your mental health. It is also okay to pace yourself. Maybe you decide to focus on mastering waste reduction for a few months before you even start thinking about your wardrobe. That is a smart, sustainable strategy. This is a marathon, not a sprint. Approaching it with patience and self-compassion is the only way to ensure you'll have the energy to stay on the path for years to come. A truly sustainable lifestyle should not be a source of constant stress and guilt. It should be a source of empowerment, purpose, creativity, and connection. By nurturing your own well-being, celebrating your progress, and connecting with both nature and community, you transform this practice from a list of chores into a fulfilling and hopeful way of life. Thank you for joining me. In our next chapter, we'll look at how to apply our sustainable principles to some of the most consumption-heavy times of the year: holidays, celebrations, and the art of gift-giving. I'll see you then. Hello and welcome back. In our last chapter, we took a crucial pause to focus on nurturing our own well-being, ensuring we have the mental and emotional energy for this long-term journey. Today, we are going to carry that sense of mindfulness into some of the most cherished and, often, most consumption-heavy times of our lives. We're going to talk about parties, holidays, birthdays, and the traditions that bring us together. This is Chapter 13, Sustainable Celebrations, Rethinking Holidays, Parties, and Gifts. Celebrations are the punctuation marks of our lives. They are moments of joy, connection, and tradition that we look forward to all year. But somewhere along the way, our modern celebrations have become deeply entangled with immense pressure to consume. They often leave a wake of waste, piles of torn wrapping paper, overflowing trash cans filled with disposable plates, and uneaten food. The goal of this chapter is not to strip the fun and magic out of these special occasions. Instead, it's to rediscover their true purpose, connecting with loved ones, and to infuse them with even more meaning, creativity, and intention. Let's start with the gathering itself. Whether you're hosting a small birthday dinner or a large holiday feast, you can make a huge impact with a few thoughtful choices. First, let's talk about decorations. Instead of buying single-use plastic decorations, start building a collection of reusable, timeless items that you can bring out year after year. Think durable garlands, fabric tablecloths, or a set of special holiday dishes. For event-specific flair, get creative with natural or DIY decor. A string of popcorn and cranberries for a winter holiday, a bouquet of wildflowers from the garden in summer, or a beautiful bowl of seasonal fruit as a centerpiece are all stunning options that can be eaten or composted afterward. Next, the heart of any party, the food and drink. Food waste is a major issue at large gatherings. The best way to combat this is to plan carefully. Once you have your RSVP count, plan your menu and portions accordingly. When it comes to serving, the most impactful choice you can make is to use real, reusable tableware. Break out the actual plates, silverware, and glasses. Yes, it means you'll have to do dishes, but it completely eliminates a huge source of landfill waste. If you're hosting a huge crowd and reusable isn't feasible, look for certified compostable plates and cutlery, and make sure you have a designated compost bin for them. Now, let's turn our attention to one of the biggest sources of holiday stress and consumption: gift giving. We've been taught that the best way to show love and appreciation is by buying someone a new, physical item. Let's challenge that notion and explore the art of mindful gifting, which prioritizes connection over clutter. The first step is to think beyond the box and consider giving gifts of experience. Instead of an object that might end up in the back of a closet, give a memory. This could be tickets to a concert, a play, or a sporting event. It could be a gift certificate for a class you can take together, like cooking or pottery. It could be a national parks pass for a year of adventures, or a simple, homemade voucher for a special outing that you plan and pay for. Experiences enrich our lives without adding to the clutter. Similarly, consider gifts of service. What skills and time can you offer? For new parents, the gift of a few hours of free babysitting is worth more than any store-bought toy. For an elderly neighbor, an offer to help with yard work or run errands can be a lifeline. For a busy friend, the gift of a home-cooked meal can be a beautiful act of care. These are gifts of true, personal value. Consumable gifts are another wonderful, low-waste option. A bag of high-quality, locally roasted coffee, a special bottle of olive oil, a selection of craft beers, or a basket of homemade baked goods are gifts that can be truly enjoyed and savored without taking up permanent space. If you do want to give a physical item, embrace the world of second-hand and handmade. A beautiful vintage scarf, a classic book from a used bookstore, or a high-quality piece of cast iron from a thrift shop can make a unique and thoughtful gift. And never underestimate the power of a handmade gift: a knitted hat, a jar of jam made from your garden, or a framed photo that you took. These items carry a personal touch that can't be bought. Finally, for the person who has everything, consider making a donation to their favorite charity in their name. When a new, physical gift is the right choice, simply apply the conscious consumerism principles we've learned. Choose items that are useful, durable, high quality, and made by ethical and sustainable companies. And what about wrapping these thoughtful gifts? Every year, Americans generate millions of tons of trash from gift wrap alone, and much of it, especially the glossy, glittery, and metallic kind, is not recyclable. Let's get creative with sustainable gift wrapping. You can use reusable materials like fabric gift bags, decorative tins, or scarves. using the beautiful Japanese art of furoshiki to wrap the gift. Or use materials that are easily recycled or composted, like plain brown craft paper, the Sunday comic section of the newspaper, or even your children's artwork. For the final touch, skip the plastic bow and tie it all together with natural twine, a sprig of rosemary, or a dried orange slice. By shifting our focus, our celebrations can become even richer. They can be a reflection of our values, generosity, connection, and care for our planet. We can create beautiful new traditions that are remembered for the memories we made, not the trash we left behind. Thank you for joining me. In our next chapter, we're going to talk about a topic that influences nearly all of our choices: money. We'll explore how we can align our finances with our values through sustainable banking and investing. I'll see you then. Hello and welcome back. Throughout this series, we have focused on the conscious choices we make every day: what we buy, what we eat, what we wear, and what we waste. We've learned to vote with our dollars at the grocery store and the shopping mall. Today, we're going to take that powerful concept and apply it to the very foundation of our financial lives. We're going to look beyond our wallets and into our bank accounts and investment portfolios, because where we keep our money matters just as much as how we spend it. This is Chapter 14, Money Talks, Aligning Your Finances with Your Values. For most of us, a bank is just a place to safely store our money, pay our bills, and maybe get a loan. We deposit our paycheck, and we trust that the money is sitting there waiting for us. But that's not the whole story. Your money doesn't just sit in a vault. Banks are businesses, and they use the collective deposits of all their customers, your money included, to give out loans and make investments. This is how they make their profit. The critical question for a sustainable citizen is, what are they funding with my money? Many of the largest, most conventional banks in the world are also the biggest financiers of the fossil fuel industry. They provide the loans that build new oil pipelines, open new coal mines, and fund projects that contribute to deforestation. This means that while you are diligently reducing your personal carbon footprint, the money in your savings account could, unbeknownst to you, be actively working against your goals. The good news is, you have the power to change that. This brings us to the idea of sustainable banking. It's the act of choosing to place your money with a financial institution that invests in communities and the planet, not in extractive industries. For most Americans, the best alternatives are local credit unions and community banks. Unlike national megabanks that are beholden to shareholders, credit unions are non-profit cooperatives that are owned by their members. That means you. Their focus is almost always on serving the local community, providing loans for small businesses, mortgages for local families, and generally investing in the well-being of the neighborhood. You can also look for institutions with specific certifications, like Community Development Financial Institutions, or CDFIs, which have a primary mission to promote community development in underserved areas, or banks that are certified B Corporations, meaning they meet rigorous standards of social and environmental performance and transparency. Moving your money might seem like a hassle, but it is one of the most powerful one-time actions you can take. You are sending a clear, undeniable message that you will not financially support the industries that are harming our planet. Now, let's talk about the next level, investing. If you have a retirement account like a 401k through your employer, or a personal investment account, your money is even more directly tied to the stock market and the behavior of major corporations. This is where the world of socially responsible investing, or SRI, comes in. SRI is a broad term for any investment strategy that seeks to achieve both financial returns and positive social or environmental change. It's the ultimate form of voting with your dollars. There are a few simple ways to think about this. One common approach is called ESG, which stands for Environmental, Social, and Governance. It's a framework for evaluating companies on a deeper level. The environmental criteria look at a company's impact on the planet, its carbon footprint, its pollution levels, and its water usage. The social criteria examine how it treats people, its labor standards, its commitment to diversity, and its relationship with the community. And governance looks at how the company is run, its transparency, its executive compensation, and its shareholder rights. With this framework in mind, investors often use two main strategies. The first is negative screening, which is the simplest. This just means you choose to exclude companies or entire industries from your portfolio that you don't want to support, such as fossil fuels, tobacco, or weapons manufacturing. The second strategy is positive screening, or impact investing. This is the exciting part. Instead of just avoiding the bad, you actively seek out and invest in companies that are creating a better world. These could be businesses in the renewable energy sector, companies developing clean water technology, or corporations leading the way in fair labor practices and sustainable agriculture. You are using your capital to help the solutions grow. I know this can sound complex, but getting started is easier than you think. The first place to look is your employer-sponsored retirement plan. Many companies now offer at least one ESG or socially responsible fund as an option. You can check your plan's documents or talk to your HR department to see what's available. For your personal investments, like an IRA or a brokerage account, virtually every major financial institution now offers a wide selection of SRI mutual funds and exchange-traded funds, or ETFs. You can research these funds online just as you would any other. Aligning your finances with your values is a profound step on your sustainability journey. It's a recognition that every dollar we have, whether it's in our pocket, our bank, or our retirement fund, has power. By consciously choosing where that power is directed, we can move beyond simply reducing our personal negative impact and start actively contributing to the positive, sustainable, and equitable future we want to see. Thank you for joining me. In our final chapter, we will bring everything together, reflecting on the journey we've taken and exploring how to integrate these principles into a flexible, resilient, and lifelong practice. I'll see you then for our conclusion. Hello, and welcome back for our final chapter. For the past 14 sessions, we have embarked on an incredible journey together. We started in the heart of our homes, the kitchen, and from there, our exploration expanded. We went into our closets, our cleaning cupboards, and our garages. We stepped out into our yards, our communities, and the complex worlds of our digital and financial lives. We have covered a vast amount of ground, and if you are feeling a mix of inspiration and perhaps a little bit of overwhelm, that's perfectly normal. This final chapter is not about learning one more tip. It's about taking a deep breath, looking back at the path we've traveled, and charting a course for how to carry these ideas forward, weaving them not into a rigid set of rules, but into a flexible, joyful, and lifelong practice. This is Chapter 15, The Lifelong Journey, Weaving Sustainability into Your Life. As we look back, we can see that a few core philosophies have been the foundation of everything we've discussed. The first is the fundamental shift from mindlessness to mindfulness. It's the practice of pausing before we buy, before we throw away, and before we consume, and asking ourselves simple questions. Is this necessary? Is this kind? Is there a better way? This simple pause is where our power lies. It's the space where we move from being passive consumers to active, intentional architects of our lives. The second, and perhaps most important, theme has been our mantra: progress, not perfection. I hope that if you take only one thing away from this entire series, it is this. You do not need to be a perfect, zero-waste, off-grid homesteader to make a profound difference. Sustainability is a journey of a million small steps, and every single one of them matters. Be kind to yourself. Celebrate your victories, and view your missteps not as failures, but as learning opportunities. Finally, we've seen that this journey is ultimately about prioritizing connection over consumption. It's about discovering that a repaired piece of clothing can bring more satisfaction than a new one, that a meal shared with a neighbor builds more wealth than a gadget bought online, and that a walk in the woods can restore us in a way that no shopping spree ever could. At its heart, sustainability is about rediscovering a deeper and more authentic connection to our planet, our communities, and ourselves. So, how do you move forward from here without feeling like you have to do everything at once? You build your own personal framework. First, start with what excites you. Don't look at this series as a giant to-do list. Scan back over the topics we've covered. What sparked your interest the most? Was it the idea of growing your own food in a small garden? Was it the creative challenge of thrifting for your wardrobe? Was it the satisfaction of making your own non-toxic cleaners? Start there. Your passion and curiosity are your greatest fuel. When you start with what you enjoy, the changes will feel less like chores and more like an exciting new hobby. A great way to integrate new habits is through a technique called habit stacking. This means you link a new sustainable habit to an established one you already do automatically. For instance, after you finish your morning coffee, that's your existing habit, you immediately put the used grounds in your compost bin. That's the new habit. By piggybacking the new action onto an old one, you make it significantly easier for it to become second nature. Remember that this is an ever-evolving field. Be a lifelong learner. The products and practices that are considered sustainable today may be improved upon tomorrow. Stay curious. Read books, listen to podcasts, and watch documentaries about these topics. Follow credible scientists and educators online. The goal isn't to become an expert overnight, but to maintain a curious and open mind, always ready to learn and adapt. And as you grow on this path, share your journey, but avoid preaching. The most effective way to inspire change in others is not by telling them what they're doing wrong, but by living your own values with joy and authenticity. Let your friends and family see how much fun you're having. Let them taste the delicious food from your garden. Let them compliment a unique piece of furniture you found secondhand and restored. When they become curious and ask you questions, you have an open door to share what you've learned. Inspiration is always more powerful than guilt. We live in a time of great challenges. There is no denying that. The problems can feel immense and complex. But the solutions, as we have seen, can be simple, tangible, and beautiful. They start with one person, one family, one home, deciding to make a thoughtful choice. And that one choice creates a ripple. That ripple of conscious action inspires a neighbor, it supports a local business, it reduces waste in a landfill, it conserves a bit of water or energy. And when your ripples join with the ripples of millions of other people making their own small, thoughtful choices, it creates a current. And that current creates a tide that can turn the ship. That is how real change happens. So, my final call to action for you is simple. Just begin. Pick one thing. Just one. Let it be your starting point. Whatever it is, do it today. Thank you for spending your valuable time on this journey with me. It has been an honor to be your guide. I wish you all the best as you continue to take these ideas and weave them into your own unique and beautiful life, creating a healthier, kinder, and more sustainable world for us all.